AITA for skipping a family wedding after my parents forgot about me for a year. My name is Nathan. I am 34 years old now, but back then I was 33. I was trapped in the same small town in North Carolina where I grew up, the kind of place where everyone knows your business before you even park your car. I had a decent job in IT cybersecurity for a mid-sized company. Good pay, decent benefits, but I worked remotely most of the time, so it really did not matter where I lived. I was not married, had no kids, just me and a beat-up Ford pickup I bought used 5 years ago. I did not go around breaking rules or giving my parents trouble. I was quiet, always did what I was told, got good grades, and stayed out of trouble. But in my house, none of that really mattered, because I had a younger brother, Jason, who was basically the center of the universe. He was the golden child, the athlete, the one my parents posted about on Facebook every 2 weeks. I was background noise. It did not matter if I brought home an A or an award. They barely looked up from whatever Jason was doing. I will give you an example. When I was 14, I won first place in the regional science fair. It was a very big deal to me. My teacher told my parents that the awards ceremony was on Saturday morning. He said it would mean a lot if they came. My mom said, "Oh, that is the same day as Jason's soccer tournament. Maybe we can go after the game." They did not go. I stood there, holding that little gold trophy while other kids' parents clapped and took pictures. Mine never showed up. When I got home later, my mom asked me if they had given out snacks at the event. That was all she cared about. It was like that over and over again. At my high school graduation, they arrived late and left early because Jason's team had an end-of-season dinner. I drove myself to a Denny's, still wearing my cap and gown, sitting at the counter eating pancakes alone while other families filled the tables. By the time I turned 20, I realized what my place was. I did not plan a dramatic exit. I just decided I was done. I was tired of living in the same town where every time I bought groceries, someone would ask me how my amazing family was doing. People who had absolutely no idea. I chose Miami because it was the farthest I could go while staying in the country. Sun, beaches, no winters. It sounded like starting over. Moving day was chaos, the way moves always are. My friend Paul arrived late with 2 coffees. My other friend, Megan, kept tripping over the packing tape because she refused to tie her hair back. At one point, we realized the mattress was not going to fit through the stairwell without folding it in half. We laughed about it. The kind of laugh that comes half from frustration and half because you know this day will stay in your head forever. That was when my dad drove by in the same silver SUV he has had for years, slowing down just enough to see me carrying a box of dishes. He looked right at me and kept driving, pretending he had not seen anything. He did not wave, did not ask what was going on, just kept going, as if I were a stranger moving out of some random apartment. The apartment felt weird when it was empty. I did not have much to begin with. A second-hand couch, a mismatched set of dishes, a bed frame I got on Craigslist. When we loaded the last box, I walked through the place one more time, not because I was sentimental, but because I wanted to make sure I did not leave anything behind. Paul handed me the keys to the U-Haul. "Are you sure about this, man?" "Yes," I said. I was sure. The drive to Miami took 2 days. We split it between the 3 of us, switching seats at rest stops, living on gas station snacks and bad coffee. Somewhere in Georgia, the radio stopped picking up stations, so Paul played the same playlist from his phone until I threatened to throw it out the window. We arrived in Miami late on a Sunday. My new apartment was no big deal. 1 bedroom, a tiny balcony, a kitchen with appliances old enough to belong in a museum. The kind of place where the light switches are all in weird spots. But it was mine. We carried everything up 3 flights of stairs because the elevator had an out-of-order sign. By the time we brought in the last box, we were drenched in sweat and running on just 2 hours of sleep. I offered to cook something. I realized all I had was pasta and a jar of sauce, and I quickly burned the garlic in the pan because the stove was one of those electric ones that goes from off to an inferno in about 3 seconds. We ate it anyway, sitting on the floor because I still did not have chairs. It tasted awful. Even so, we laughed about it. The building was old, and the landlord was slow. Within 1 week, I started tightening squeaky hinges and resecuring the latch on the shared back door. No one asked me to. I just cannot stand broken things. After they left the next morning, the apartment felt too quiet. I put my bed together. I unpacked some clothes and tried to make the place look less like a storage unit. I bought groceries, bought a fan because the air conditioning barely worked. I did not know anyone in the city, except for one guy from work I had only seen over Zoom. But every time I looked around, even at the peeling paint and the view of the parking lot, I kept thinking, this is mine. No one can tell me to leave. No one can ignore me here. That night my grandmother called. She never waits for permission. She just calls. "Hello, sweetheart," she said. "Are you settled in yet?" "Almost. I got lost twice trying to find the grocery store." She laughed. "As long as you found it eventually." She did not ask why I left. She already knew. Before hanging up, she said, "I am proud of you. You know, that was the first time in years anyone in my family had said that to me." A year later, on a random Tuesday afternoon, my phone started buzzing in my pocket while I was tightening the latch on the shared back door behind the building. Unknown number, but with my hometown area code. I almost ignored it, thinking it was a telemarketer. At the last second I swiped to answer, holding the phone between my ear and my shoulder while I aligned the strike plate. "Nathan," my father's voice. I froze for half a second before putting down the drill. "Yes, it is Dad." As if I was not going to recognize the voice of the man who had not called me a single time in a full year. He did not ask how I was. He did not ask why I left or how Miami was treating me. Instead, he got straight to the point. "We need you to come home next month. Jason's wedding. It is a big deal. His fiance's parents are very well off. They are important people. The family should be together for something like this. Not even a 'how have you been, son?' Just an order delivered, as if I were still 17 waiting for permission to borrow the car." I leaned against the door, looking at the half-installed latch. "I cannot go." There was a pause as if he could not believe I had said no. "You cannot go." His voice sharpened. "This family is not complete without you. Everyone will be there. Your mother, your cousins, even Uncle Carl is flying in from Texas. Are you really going to be the one missing?" "I have work," I said flatly. It was not even a lie. I had a project launching that week. But honestly, even if I did not, I was not going to travel back across several states just to sit at a table so he could pretend we were a big, happy family. "You moved without telling anyone," he suddenly said, raising his voice. "Do you have any idea how selfish that was? Your mother felt embarrassed when people asked where you were. We had to make up excuses." I almost laughed at that. Funny, considering he literally drove slowly past me and acted like he was blind. "You guys did not even notice for a year." "That is not the point," he snapped. "Actually, it is," I said, keeping my tone calm, because I knew it drove him crazy when I did not yell back. If it really was such a big deal, maybe someone would have called before now. He ignored that completely. "Look, these people Jason is marrying into. They are very traditional. They expect to meet the whole family. You showing up matters. We need to present ourselves properly." There it was. It was not about me. It was not about wanting to see me or catch up or hear about my life. It was only about presenting the family as if we were auditioning for something. I wiped the sweat from my forehead with my arm. "You are asking me to travel across several states for people I have never met, just so you can look good in front of them. It is a matter of respect, Nathan, something you clearly no longer understand." I stayed quiet for a second, looking at the fence. My father hated silence during arguments. He always filled it, living out there by yourself, like a hermit in the woods. "I live in Miami," I interrupted. "Not exactly in the woods. It is not healthy," he continued. "Family sticks together. We support each other. That is how it is supposed to work." I could not help it. I laughed. A short, sharp sound. "Since when? You did not come to my graduation. You skipped the science fair. Half the time you forgot my birthday. Now, all of a sudden, family unity matters because Jason is getting married." "That was different," he said stiffly. "Sure, different." I bent down and picked up the drill again. "I am not going." The silence this time lasted longer. I could almost picture him clenching his jaw on the other end. "You realize," he finally said in a low voice, "if you do not show up to this wedding, you can forget about inheriting anything from this family. Do not expect a single cent when we are gone." I actually laughed out loud. "Do you think I need your money? You do not have anywhere near as much as you think." "I make more than enough," I said. "I have my own place. I paid off my pickup. I have savings. I am fine." "You are bluffing," he snapped. "If you ever asked about my life," I said, "you would know I am not." For the first time in the entire conversation, he did not have a quick comeback. I heard him inhale as if he wanted to yell, but could not find the words. Jason will be disappointed, he finally said in a stiff voice. He will survive, I said. Then I hung up before he could say anything else. A whole year without a single call, text, or email. And the first time he bothered to contact me was to bark orders as if nothing had happened. I wiped the sawdust off my hands and went inside. I grabbed a bottle of water from the fridge and sat on the floor because I still had not bought a couch. I kept putting it off. My phone buzzed again a few minutes later. I did not even look at it. After my dad hung up, I thought that would be it. A whole year of nothing. Then a call, a fight, and back to silence. I was wrong. That night my phone lit up again while I was eating leftover pasta straight from the pot. Mom's name. I did not answer. A minute later the voicemail notification popped up. Nathan, it is your mother, she said in that tense, dramatic tone she always used when she wanted something. I cannot believe you spoke to your father like that. Do you have any idea how this makes us look? People will talk. You need to come to this wedding. Call me back. I did not. The wedding was the first week of next month, about 3 weeks away from that call. The next morning, another message. Nathan, please do not ruin this for your brother. Everyone will ask, where are you? His fiance's parents are very proper people. We cannot let them think something is wrong with our family. Something was wrong. They just did not want anyone else to see it. I deleted that voicemail too. By Friday, the calls kept piling up. I finally stopped checking them. My phone sounded like a slot machine. Every few hours, calls, texts, voicemails, all saying the same thing, never once asking how I was doing or why I had left in the first place. Saturday night, my brother finally called. I did not answer at first, but he tried again 5 minutes later. And again, I sighed and picked up on the fourth try. Nathan, he said in a voice that was too casual, too calm. Look, I know Mom can be a little excessive sometimes, but you know how she gets. Just come for me, not for them. For you? I asked. Yeah, it is my wedding, man. Do not make it about Mom and Dad. Just come to dinner, smile for some pictures, and then go back to whatever you do out there. Living my life, I said flatly. He ignored that. It is one night. You can put up with it for one night. I leaned back in my chair. Where were you when I graduated from college or when I moved? Did you ever call? Text? Anything? He stayed quiet for a second. This is different, he finally said. It was not. Monday night, I called my grandmother. She always answered on the second ring. They are driving me crazy, I said before she could even say hello. She chuckled softly. I figured they would. A year without a word. And now everyone practically remembers your number. They only call when they need something, she said. Otherwise, you could fall off the map, and they would keep setting the same dinner table as if nothing were missing. She was not wrong. I spent the next morning adjusting the hinges on the shared back door, with the sun beating down hard enough to make my shirt stick to me. I was halfway through tightening the last hinge when I heard the sound of tires on gravel. A silver SUV pulled into the parking lot. My stomach dropped before I even saw who was behind the wheel. Dad, of course. I had not given the address to anyone except my grandmother and HR. My grandmother told me later she gave it to him after he pressured her. He parked fast, got out, and slammed the door as if he were arriving for a fight. The same work boots, the same button-down shirt, the same look on his face like the world owed him something. Nathan, he barked. We need to talk. I dropped the wrench slowly. You drove all this way. You were not answering the phone, he said, already marching past me toward the apartment as if he owned the place. I followed him inside. He stopped in the middle of the living room, looking around as if he had just walked into a dumpster. This is it, he said with disgust dripping from his voice. This is what you left home for. It is mine, I said. Temporary, he muttered. You could have had a real house back in town, something respectable, but you run away for this. He waved his hand at the walls as if they personally insulted him. I crossed my arms. Why are you here, Dad? You know why, he snapped. Jason's wedding is in 3 weeks. You have to be there. His fiance's family is already asking questions. You are making us look like fools. I shook my head. I told you I am not going. His jaw tightened. Do you think this is a choice? That you can just embarrass us in front of everyone? That family means nothing to you. I almost laughed. Family means nothing to you. I paid for my own college. I got my own job, my own place. You gave me nothing. His face turned red. We put a roof over your head. Food on the table. Congratulations, I said flatly. You did the bare minimum. That was when he stepped closer. Watch your mouth. I did not move. Or what? In the heat of the moment, he crossed a line and grabbed the front of my shirt with both hands. You are coming back, he said forcefully. I pushed him away and warned him. If you touch me again, we are done forever. He pointed his finger at me like I was 12 years old. You owe this family. I owe you nothing. I interrupted. The neighbor across the hall picked exactly that moment to walk by carrying groceries. She stopped, her eyes darting between us. Everything okay? She asked carefully. My dad straightened up instantly, a fake smile snapping into place. Oh, just a family disagreement, he said lightly, his voice smooth as butter. She looked at me. I nodded once, letting her keep walking. As soon as her door closed, his smile vanished. You are coming even if I have to drag you there myself, he hissed. Try it, I said. For a second, I thought he actually might. Instead, he started pacing the room. Do you have any idea what people will say if you are not there? They will think something is wrong with this family. Something is wrong with this family, I said. He stopped and glared at me. I took a step forward. You did not notice I moved away for a year. You did not call. You did not visit. You did not care. But now, because it makes you look bad, suddenly I matter. This is not about appearances, he snapped. It is only about appearances, I replied. You do not want me there. You want the idea of me being there. A complete family photo. A nice story to tell the in-laws. He slammed his hand on the counter. Families stick together when it matters. I did not move. Families stick together all the time, Dad. Not just when strangers are looking. For once he had no answer. His mouth opened and then closed again. Pack your things, he said coldly. We are leaving tonight. I almost laughed. Do you think you can give me orders like I am still under your roof? Keep it up and do not expect to be in the will. I crossed my arms. You keep it up and do not expect me to care. His face turned red again. You are throwing your family away out of pride. I shook my head. No, I am just done letting you treat me like a piece of furniture you move around when guests come over. We stared at each other for a long moment before he finally turned toward the door. This is not over, he said. I locked it anyway. As soon as he got outside, I heard the dirt kicking up with squealing tires as he sped out of the parking lot. The apartment was quiet, but the air still felt heavy, as if the walls had absorbed everything we had just said. 2 weeks after he showed up, the day of the wedding arrived. I did not travel back. I did not send a card. I did not even send my brother a text. That morning I was under my kitchen sink fixing a leak, while my family 3 states away tied themselves into knots. I figured I would not know much until afterward. I was wrong. My grandmother called before I had even finished dinner. She told me everything. What follows is how she related to me later. Well, she said as soon as I answered. You made the right choice by not going. I leaned back in my chair. Was it that bad? She let out a short laugh. Your parents were desperate before the ceremony even started. People kept asking where you were. Every relative, every family friend, they did not know which story to stick with. I could picture it clearly. My mom in her pale blue dress, gripping a champagne flute too tightly. My dad already sweating through his collar before the vows even began. What did they tell people? I asked. My grandmother snorted. Depends on who asked. First it was that you were sick, then that you had to work, then something about a last-minute trip. By the time the third cousin asked, the stories did not even match anymore. I could hear it in my head. Mom insisting I had the flu, while Dad swore I was stuck at some conference in Chicago. 2 completely different excuses in the same room. Did people buy that? I asked. Oh no, my grandmother said. She told me that the bride's father asked the first real question during dinner, right there at the table, loudly and without hesitation. So why did we only hear about this other son 2 weeks ago? I let out a laugh. No. Oh, yes, my grandmother said. Your mother's smile froze so hard I thought her face was going to crack. Your dad tried to jump in with some excuse about you living far away, but it came out a mess. Something about you traveling for work. He was sweating like he had run there. I could see it. Dad stuttering about me being busy while the bride's father raised an eyebrow across the table. And the bride's mom? I asked. She just kept staring at your mother, Grandma said. Not even blinking, as if she were looking right through her. Apparently, the bride herself kept asking Jason questions too. Why was he not at the engagement party? Why had I not heard about him before? She was asking between photo sessions. Jason said I was busy with work, just like Dad, But Grandma said the bride did not look convinced for a second. She smiled, Grandma told me. But it was that kind of tight smile you get when you know she does not believe a word of it. By the time dessert came out, Grandma said the whispers had spread to every table. Whole groups of relatives talking about it. She said, "Your uncle told me that one cousin swore you were in prison. Another thought you had joined the military. No one could understand why your parents acted like you did not exist until this week." Then came the heated argument in the kitchen. Grandma said she was heading to the restroom when she heard Mom and Dad arguing heatedly near the catering service table. "Mom, this is your fault. You should have forced him to come." "Dad, oh, sure, because he listens to me. You raised him soft." "Mom, do not you dare blame me in front of our guests." Two waiters carrying trays stopped to pretend to check napkins just to hear the rest. Guests at the drink station went dead silent, trying to listen without making it obvious. By the time the dancing started, my grandmother said, "The bride's parents were barely looking at yours. They were polite," she said, "but the kind of polite where you know they have already decided something about you." "What about Jason?" I asked. "He looked stressed all night," Grandma said, smiling for photos, but watching the door in case you still showed up. "His fiancée kept asking where you were even after cutting the cake." I shook my head. "Yeah, not a chance." Grandma said the bride cornered Mom before leaving for the night. "Why did we not meet him before this week? Why was he not at the dinner, the party, at anything?" she asked directly. Mom blamed work again. She said, "He travels constantly. He has a demanding schedule." The girl did not buy it, Grandma said. She nodded very slowly, as if she were adding things up in her head. When the bride and groom finally left, half the relatives were still talking. "Your parents left early," Grandma said. "They did not even say goodbye to half the guests. You know your mother. She hates it when she cannot control the narrative." I pictured her walking out with a stiff back while cousins whispered behind their napkins. "Do you think the bride's parents believed any of it?" I asked. My grandmother let out a sharp laugh. "Not a chance. People like that see right through lies. They saw it all. The arguments, the empty chair, the stories changing every 5 minutes. They will be talking about this for months." After hanging up, I sat for a long time thinking about the whole circus, a whole year without calling me once, and then demanding I drop everything so they could look good in front of strangers. And now the strangers knew anyway. They gave everyone a front row seat to see the cracks in the frame. The first sign came 3 days after the wedding. Grandma called again, her voice with that same mix of humor and disbelief she always had when things were about to go south for my parents. "You will like this," she said. "The bride's parents are not letting this go." I leaned back in my chair. "What do you mean?" They asked Jason point blank. "Why were you not there? Why did no one mention you until the last minute? Why did they only find out you existed 2 weeks before their daughter married into the family?" And according to her, he tried the same excuse as my parents. Something about me being busy, living far away. It did not work. They started asking around. It was not long before they started calling other relatives, cousins, uncles, even that family friend who once called me crying on Mom's behalf. The bride's parents were piecing the story together, realizing that the version they got from Mom and Dad did not add up. "Your uncle told them," Grandma said, "that you moved away a year ago and no one noticed for months." They were shocked. I laughed. "Yeah, that sounds about right." By the end of the week, rumors were flying. Mom's bridge group found out about the heated argument at the wedding. Dad's coworkers heard that the bride's family was asking why their son-in-law's brother was not speaking to his parents. Someone from the country club told Grandma they heard the bride's father say he does not like doing business with families that hide things. "Oh, they are in damage control mode now," my grandmother said, sounding almost cheerful. Sure enough, my mother called me 2 nights later. I did not answer, but she left a voicemail. "Nathan, this has gone far enough," she snapped. "People are talking. Your father's reputation is on the line. The bride's parents are asking questions they have no right to ask. You need to call them. Clear this up. Tell them you were just busy. Tell them we are a close family." I deleted it without listening to the rest. The next morning, Dad tried. "Son," he said in a strained voice, "you have to fix this. Jason's wife is upset. Her parents are upset. They think there is some big problem in this family." "There is," I said. He ignored that. "Tell them you were traveling for work, that we talk all the time, that everything is fine. You do not have to mean it, Just say it. I laughed. It is not going to happen. This is not a joke, he yelled. I have business relationships on the line. There it is, I said. This was never about family. It is about your reputation. 2 days later, my grandmother called again. They are losing their minds, she said simply. Apparently, the bride's father canceled a golf game with Dad. He told him they would reschedule when things cooled down. They sit on the local chamber board together and share a foursome on Thursdays at the club. When he goes cold, other doors close. Business talks between them cooled overnight. Your dad blames me now, Grandma said, clearly enjoying it. He says I made things worse by talking to people at the wedding like I was supposed to lie for him. Then came the letter, Dad's handwriting on the front, left in my mailbox as if we were living in the 50s. Inside, 3 pages telling me how selfish I was, how I embarrassed the family, how I ruined Jason's wedding by not showing up. At the end, a paragraph ordering me to call the bride's parents and correct the false impressions people were getting. I did not even finish reading it. I took it straight to the fire pit outside, lit a match, and watched it turn to ashes. The following week, Grandma called again, this time laughing so hard she had to stop mid-sentence. The bride's mother had lunch with your mom yesterday, she said when she finally caught her breath. She told her straight out that she does not like liars. Said she can smell dishonesty a mile away. Your mother came home looking like she got hit by a truck. I almost dropped my coffee. Did she really say that word for word? Grandma confirmed. Then came the best part a few days later. Jason's wife, now officially my sister-in-law, apparently confronted him after hearing all the different stories. She asked him what else the family was hiding. Grandma told me he tried to downplay it. Said I was just distant and busy with work. She told him she wants no secrets in their marriage, not from him and not from his parents. I sat back in my chair smiling. I guess the honeymoon got off to a fun start. Apparently there was a heated exchange, Grandma added. A lot. Meanwhile, my parents kept leaving me messages. Some angry. Do you think this is funny? You have humiliated us. Some desperate. Nathan, please, just call them. Fix this before it gets worse. And finally, the one that made me shake my head. You need to post something online, a nice family picture. Tell people we are all close. That will shut them up. I did not reply to any of it. By the end of the month, a few things about Dad had cooled down. Calls that used to be returned the same day were going to voicemail. The bride's parents stopped responding entirely. Mom's social circle got quieter too. Fewer lunches, fewer invitations. Grandma said at church one Sunday, 2 women asked her if everything was all right in the family. She told them, depends on which version you heard. She said the look on their faces was priceless. One afternoon, I was on the balcony watering the potted plants when Grandma called again. They are panicking, she said. Your dad is furious. Your mom cries every other day. Jason's wife keeps pressing him for answers, and the bride's parents will not let it go. Good, I said. Your dad swears you owe him an apology. I laughed so hard I had to drop the hose. By this point, the story was not just inside the family. The neighbors in town knew. People at Dad's work knew. The golf club knew. The country club knew. Everyone had heard some version of what happened, and none of the versions made my parents look good. For once I did not have to say a word. They did it to themselves. 6 months later, Miami felt like home in a way my old town never did. I had a new couch, a table big enough to host guests, a grill in the backyard, and a half-wild dog named Buddy, who followed me around like I had owned him since he was born. The leak under the sink was long fixed. The fence gate no longer squeaked, and the neighbors waved at me when passing by. As for my parents, from what Grandma told me, they were not doing so well. 2 months after the wedding, Jason's wife had stopped going to Sunday dinners. She told Grandma she was tired of feeling like she had married into a family that could not be honest about anything. When Jason tried to defend Mom and Dad, she asked him point blank why it took them a year to tell her about me, why they lied about me being busy, sick, or traveling. Whatever excuse they gave at the wedding, he did not have an answer. They were already fighting by their 3rd month of marriage. Dad's work never recovered either. That golf game with the bride's father was never rescheduled, nor were the business meetings. Word got around about the wedding drama. People in his circle did not like complicated families. Deals he bragged about for years slipped through his fingers one by one. Mom's friends from the country club also stopped inviting her to lunch. No one wanted to hear her version of events when they had already heard 5 others. They did it to themselves, Grandma told me on the phone one night. You did not have to lift a finger. By early spring, the house I had been saving for finally closed. 3 bedrooms, a big backyard, a garage where I could actually put my tools instead of tripping over them in the apartment hallway. When I got the keys, I walked through every room twice just because I could. My grandmother was the first family member I invited over. She showed up with a cake and a big smile. "This place suits you," she said, looking around. "Yeah," I said, "it feels like mine." By summer, the backyard was ready for the first big get-together. Buddy was trotting around while Paul carried bags of charcoal for the grill. Megan hung lights along the fence. 2 neighbors brought coolers. Someone set up a folding table covered with chips, salads, sandwiches, and a suspicious casserole no one claimed responsibility for. My grandmother sat in the shade sipping lemonade, watching the kids chase each other across the grass. "This," she said, pointing at the whole scene with her hand. "This is what a family is supposed to be." I nodded. The music played softly from a speaker. People were laughing. Buddy barked at a squirrel climbing the oak tree. For once, nothing felt tense. Near dusk, I checked my phone. A new voicemail. Dad's voice. "Family needs to stick together," he said, as if the last year had not happened. As if the wedding, the lies, the arguments, the threats, none of it counted. I hit delete without listening to the rest. By the fire pit, my grandmother joined me while the others ate on the patio. "Do they still call you?" she asked. "Sometimes," I said. "Mainly Dad, acting like nothing is wrong." She shook her head. "They lost the right to pretend nothing is wrong." I did not answer. Watching the flames felt better than talking about them. She patted my arm. "You built something real here. Do not let them take it away." I nodded. It was not just the house. It was the people sitting around the fire, laughing at whoever burned the hot dogs. The kids throwing a ball for Buddy. Megan dancing barefoot on the grass while Paul tried not to drop the tray of burgers. It felt like a family, even if none of them shared my last name. My grandmother left just before dark. She gave me a tight hug before getting into her car. "You did good," she said. "Better than they ever did." I watched the taillights fade down the street before heading back to the patio. When the last guest finally left, the place was a mess. Paper plates, empty cups, Buddy licking crumbs off the grass. I stacked the chairs, put out the fire pit, turned off the fence lights. The house glowed warm behind me, windows lit up and music still playing faintly from someone's phone inside. Another voicemail buzzed as I carried the cooler in. "Dad, again." I did not open it. I did not need to. Whatever he had to say, it was not for me anymore. I stood in the backyard for a minute. The night was finally quiet. Buddy sat at my feet. My mom and dad could keep their empty house, their broken reputation, their cold dinners, and their silent phone calls. They wanted a perfect family photo. They got the picture, just not the one they planned for. Inside, the house smelled of burgers, smoke, and cut grass. Real life, the kind you build yourself. The kind nobody can take away from you. That was the last time I listened to a message from them, and the first time I realized I did not need to. Comment. I hope this story reminds you that protecting your self-respect is never selfish. Setting healthy boundaries can feel scary at first, but it opens the door to real peace. Sometimes, the most responsible thing you can do is choose your own well-being over old patterns. I believe healing starts when we stop chasing approval from those who never truly saw you as. True kindness flows both ways, and it's okay to step back when it doesn't. You deserve relationships where your presence is valued, not just expected. Take a moment to reflect on what truly brings you calm and joy in life. Choosing peace isn't giving up. It's choosing to build something better for yourself. I'm always inspired when someone finds the courage to create their own family of choice. Thank you for watching, and remember that you have the strength to shape a life that feels like home. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.